Friends, I am Lion A.P. Singh. I served on the international board between the years 2004 and 2006. And thereafter, I've had the opportunities to work with various initiatives relating to sustained membership development, leadership trainings in various parts of the world, finance, administration, and fundraising for the foundation. I have loved coming back to US-Canada Lions Leadership Forum. It's a great opportunity to learn from the lions of this part of the world. And I'm grateful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to present at the virtual leadership experience of the lions of these two constitutional areas. I would be speaking to you on attracting and retaining great lions through diversity. As we step into this subject, the first thing that comes to one's mind is what's included in the purposes of our wonderful organization: to create and foster a spirit of understanding among the peoples of the world. The word create indicates that we have to be proactive as lions in this respect. The word foster suggests that we have to do everything possible to maintain what we have created. So the obligations that are cast on every lion are to create and foster a spirit of understanding so that the world becomes a better place, so that there is better wavelength between the people of the world, individuals who live in different parts of the world, who have different ways of thinking, who have different cultures, different exposures, other different ground realities. But the very fact that we are human beings and that we are part of the planet Earth, we need to have that level of understanding which makes life better on this planet Earth for all of us. So when that's one of the purposes, that's like building the concept of diversity into the DNA of this organization. I mean, the organization exists to achieve certain purposes, accomplish certain goals. So this is one of the important goals that we would be accomplishing through this organization. My friends, if you look at this organization, let's take a holistic view of what this organization is. For example, if we compare it to the human body, as they say, is composed of the heart, the mind, the body, and the soul. So that's what the human beings are composed of. So what's the heart of our organization? The heart of our organization is the corporate structure, the working at the Oak Brook and various other offices of the association, and working of various other networks, the networks of the volunteer leaders across the entire world. For example, the GAT network, the district governors and the council chairs, the networks of the council of governors and the district cabinets. Those are the various networks that keep the working of this organization alive, that keep it going. So that represents the heart of the organization. The mind is represented by the decision-making bodies, the decision-making forums within the organization. That's where the mixture of logic and emotion, that gives results to the various decisions which take this organization forward. So that represents the mind of it. What's the body? The body is truly the membership of the organization, and everything really gets executed through the body. If the heart's there, it's a part of the body. The mind works so that the body can ultimately enjoy the benefits of it. Can you imagine that on any particular day, we'll have wonderful objects, wonderful purposes, wonderful ethics, but no members? I mean, that's a meaningless kind of a situation. The situation that we really hope for, that we work for, is that we have more and more and more lions so that we can meet our object even more aggressively, in a more robust manner. We can really reach out the service that's required to the communities in a more effective manner. And to do all of it, you need the body to be strong, the body to be agile, strong, the body to be able to take various pressures, and the body to be able to respond to the various challenges. That's what the human body is. And similarly, the body of this organization. And that is represented by the membership of the organization. And the spirit, of course, is what keeps us all going. the desire to continue to serve, the desire to take this entire story of Lions Clubs International success forward, the desire to build on the legacy of each and every club, your home club, my home club. That's what is the spirit of this organization. And for that, we are here today to discuss about attracting and retaining great Lions through diversity. Now, what is diversity? Let's hear an opinion from one of the sensations in leadership and management in the last few years, Simon Sinek. What does he have to say about diversity? No, that's not rocket science. That's a very simple definition of diversity. And if you look at our own organization, well, diversity is written across the face of the organization. We are there in more than 200 countries and geographical areas. We have so many official languages in this organization, and all our literature is translated into each of those official languages. If you talk of the training programs are available to the Lions in all the official languages. Even at the DGE seminar, which is conducted at the international level each year for the incoming district governors, there are sessions, separate sessions for Lion leaders in each such official language. If you look at the International Convention, there are translations available in each of those languages. Even during the meetings of our board of directors, live translations are available to the international directors who may not be speaking English and who may be conversant only with those official languages. So much so that at our international convention, just before the convention starts, you look at our most colorful event, the International Parade. The International Parade is one such event which really shows to the world that this is a global village, where the cultures of all parts of the world are really brought together. Such a great event it is, where the Lions march the streets of the city where the convention's being held, and they do so in their colorful attire, the traditional attire of their own countries, showing their own culture and maybe singing and dancing in their own way. That's where the world gets together. And once we are in the sessions at the International Convention, if you have noticed, right in the front, there is a separate section for those who are hearing impaired. And there is a sign language. The entire general sessions are translated, if I may use that word, in the sign language. Now, this culture really hasn't gone down so much to our multiple district conventions, maybe at our district conventions, but someday it will, because our international leaders are beginning to look at it. And we have a short clipping where one of our vice presidents, Vice President Dr. Patty Hill, is doing a sign language translation at one of the conventions. That's a true mark of diversity. That's respect for diversity in our association. Let's look at that. It's showing how the heart is ready. The heart's ready to service the body. In fact, the rest of this entire discussion is going to be about getting the body in good shape to be able to attract and retain members through diversity. If you look at it, science sends us this very strong message that it's ultimately the opposite poles that bring about that attraction in the magnetic field. It's not that this world is ever going to be a homogeneous place. This world is so different in different parts of the world. We have people who have different ground realities. They've, over the thousands of years, developed their own cultures, and each culture is beautiful. We need to be respecting them. That's what this organization is all about. Fellowship, understanding between the peoples of the world. And in doing so, we need to make sure that our clubs are truly a reflection of what our communities are, what our cities are, what our towns are, what our countries are, and what this entire world is. We definitely want people from different cultures, different ethnic backgrounds, different languages, different habits, different age, different genders, different economic strata. And all of that is extremely important in this organization, because if we miss out on diversity, we are basically missing out on the potential. Look within yourself and just think about it, about your own clubs. How many of you have clubs where you have individuals coming in from diverse cultures or individuals from different age groups? In this part of the world, we are often encountered with the question of aging clubs. Like, what's the solution to those aging clubs? The only solution is get some new members in. And the aging members, the senior members, the members who've held control on the club, who've really loved their clubs and kept it going for so long, need to pass on the baton to the next generation. That's the only solution. There is no other solution. I mean, there were some parts of the world where you used to have challenges about women being inducted as members. I mean, maybe not in this part of the world, but there are different constitutional areas where this challenge has continued. It's just beginning to die down. It was there. But then these are the kind of issues that we need to understand. We need to appreciate that we have opportunities of drawing in people from different walks, people with different perspectives of diversity. There could be so many perspectives. Age, we could be talking of the people at different ages. We could be talking of the young members group, and even our international president, Jung Yul Choi, is talking of the early retirees. We could be talking of people who have come and settled in different countries, the expatriates and people who have adopted the nationalities of the countries where they've gone and settled. I mean, they really may not be represented in the Lions clubs. I mean, if you open up the doors of the Lions clubs to them, you could get wonderful members in your own clubs who would be serving their communities, people from different religions, people from different cultural backgrounds, people even from different economic strata. Because, I mean, what does a Lion member really need to be like? If someone asks me, and I've been often asked that question, can you give me a definition of what a Lion member should be? And the best definition that I have found is that if there's an individual whom you can invite home for dinner with your family, where you have your children, maybe your grandchildren with you, then that's the person whom you can also invite to your club to be a member of the Lions Club. I mean, what are the obligations basically? Just the annual subscription and the desire to participate to the extent possible for the service programs, for the service initiatives. It's not such a big contribution. Individuals can have different levels of bank balances. We would be least concerned. But if they're ready to discharge their financial obligations to the club, and they are individuals who are positive-minded, who are community service-minded, well, those are the individuals that we really need to draw into our own organization. And when I talk to you about the perspective from age, our international president has been having this idea very, very clear. And we have a clipping of an interview which was recorded when he was the third vice president. And he was extremely clear in his views about opening up our clubs for the youngsters, for the early retirees, and also was concerned about getting in the Leos, whom we are today talking of as the Leo Lions. So let's listen to this interview, which was delivered when our now president, Jung Yul Choi, was the third vice president. So friends, those were the ideas of our president. And as we are now getting into the focus part of our discussion today, which is attracting members through diversity, we are going to be looking at various target groups. The first target group that we are looking at is that of the youngsters, the youth. The second target group that we are now looking at is the early retirees. If you look at the picture itself, the picture tells the whole story. If we are working with the former target group, the strategies that we may use would perhaps not work if we were to work towards attracting the latter target group. For the youngsters, that's the youth, we need to make our clubs more youth friendly. We need to first understand what their lifestyle is like, what their preferences are like. I mean, they're an organization which is so much glued to connectivity through the internet. They do not believe so much in formal meetings or the so-called rituals. Their working hours are extremely flexible. The entire world's their playground. They believe in the world of Uber and the Airbnbs. They believe a world which is perhaps getting to be more and more without borders. They believe in learning from each other. They are so frank and upfront with their views. It's not that they are disrespectful. That's their way of life. Now, if we were to attract those youngsters into our clubs, my question to you is, are our clubs ready for them? If not, what do we need to do to get our clubs ready? Now, I may not be having answers to all those questions. One of the purposes of this seminar is to raise those important questions. I would request you to think, what did you do in your clubs, if you've done, to be able to attract youngsters so that they become comfortable and they become a part and parcel of your club? And how have you been successful? If you have been successful in that way, could you please post your story in the chat pane here so that all the other attendees could also benefit from your methodology and perhaps they could replicate it in their own clubs. So please go ahead as we are talking to type it out, to print it in the chat box for this seminar. And if you look at the early retirees, they would have or they would require a different kind of an attraction to come into our clubs. Their maturity levels are different. They are at a different point in their own lives. They've been well settled. They are relatively better placed off with their finances, but they want to make sure that they meet with the right people, that the times are well spent, that they are properly respected, that nobody comes and lectures them around, that they are respected for their own views, and perhaps they would be accommodative to the views of the others as well, that they can spend their time profitably, and that they can perhaps also work with their hobbies and continue to do things that they like. So are our clubs ready for such early retirees? If not, that's what this seminar is all about. We need to get our clubs ready. Nobody else will do it. Friends, let's remember, attracting membership or sustainable membership growth does not take place in seminars. It does not take place in any kind of a GMT seminar. What takes place in seminars is simple discussion. The real work takes place in the clubs. The members, you, me, all of us in our clubs, we have to do what's got to be done. We've got to perhaps change some of the ways our clubs are working. We've got to become more accommodative. We've perhaps got to let go the charge of the club to the younger generation. I'll share with you my own story. And when I went on the international board, I was pretty much embarrassed when I was asked a question at one of my district meetings, how many members, sir, do you have in your club? And of course, I told them the truth, and the truth was 18 members. Nobody said anything, but that was not a figure that I was going to be proud about. I did understand what the purpose of that question was, so I went back to my club members and I said, we've got to do something, and we've got to really do what we say. We've discussed it quite often, but let's now do what we say. So we said we'll get in some good younger members and we will let them have charge of the club. We'll step back and we will be there to support them, advise them whenever they need us, be part of their think tank, but allow them to run the club as they would like to do. We started with just about 5 or 6 youngsters that we could get them in. And once they found that we were giving them total space, freedom, we were supportive and we were encouraging them to do what they were doing, they got in more of their friends. The 6 got in the next 6, and the next 4, and the next 5. And ultimately the club has grown. They've taken charge. It's not that we've lost charge. We all work together. We work collaboratively. And my club today has around 50 members. So the point is, We've got to get this generations in. So that was the strategy that we used for the youngsters. There would perhaps to be, it would have to be tweaked if we were to talk of the early retirees. So the question is, if some of you have succeeded in getting early retirees in your clubs, will you just post in or print out or type out there in the chat box what exactly you did? Because we want everybody to benefit from them. So friends, these are the two target groups that we've just looked at. We are now going to look at yet another very important target group about which we've been talking about in our organization for quite some time. A lot has been accomplished, but I would say a lot is yet to be accomplished as well. And that's the target group of women. We will also listen or view a video by one of the management experts from the Boston Consulting Group who works in their European offices, Rocio Lorenzo. She's going to be talking to us about what they have observed about organizations, large corporates that have diversity as a culture and the success rate of those organizations. It's a very interesting study and results. Let's listen to that and then we'll be back again. So friends, that was the result of a study conducted by Boston Consulting Group. In our organization, of course, today, the gates are open to women. We are so happy that we have 2 women amongst our 5 executive officers today. But the fact is, we need to drill this down right to every club level. What is the status in your club? Why is it not reflecting in an equal amount of women membership when we look at the district statistics? There are some districts, I am aware, in North America where the percentages are good, but then not in all districts. And that's a fact in all constitutional areas of the world. Are our clubs ready to invite women? Are they women friendly? The way we do our meetings, the way we run our meetings, the way we run our clubs, the kind of programs and projects that we do, would they really be attractive for women? And in case they're not attractive for women, once they join us, are we ready to allow them to start new programs and projects? I mean, these are all individual decisions that could be taken. Decisions at each club level, decisions at each zone or at each district level. But the fact remains that we need to get more women in. We need to give them space. I use this word space. And we really need to allow them to take charge of the clubs, maybe the zones, maybe the regions, and that's how the women leadership will get built. Now we need to do something which will be in the nature of a catalyst to be able to grow more of women membership. And you and I need to work with it at our own club levels. We look at the next target group here, and which is the target group of individuals from other nationalities. A question that I have asked my friends in my own district. Why should I be asking you only this question? I've even asked my friends this question there back home in India. Why do not we have members from different nationalities in the clubs of our own district? That's the question I need to be asking you. I mean, maybe some districts in North America and Canada have members from different nationalities. But then if we look at the spectrum of population, if we look at the demographic spread of population in our own cities, in our own states, in our own countries, we will find that there is a big mismatch. There's a big mismatch in terms of the target groups, whether it's of the youth, whether it's of the women, and also of individuals from different nationalities and different backgrounds. We need to open it out to them. They are good people, good individuals. So many of us, I mean, if you look at this example today, giving me an opportunity to come and talk at this Lions virtual leadership experience of the Lions of US and Canada. This is the living example of diversity. I like coming to your forums, and I've been doing that for last so many years. In fact, I try and go to other forums as well. And one of the prime reasons is to be able to sit there and learn about the cultures, the working style, about the lifestyle of the people in different parts of the world. I believe that's been one of my greatest learnings and the benefits of joining this organization and having had an opportunity to work at the international level. That learning experience could not have come to me through the best of the courses at the topmost universities in the world, but that has come to me through Lions Clubs, through working with the Lions Clubs. So, my dear friends, if we open out our clubs to those who are from other nationalities and other ethnic backgrounds, we are only going to be enriched. There's so much to learn from that culture. And if we get members from different cultures, ultimately, we are also going to be benefited. We are going to be enriched with the experience of those cultures. If we really need to grow our membership and sustainable membership growth, we've got to look at the entire expanse, the 100% of the population. That's what I said even earlier. We look at our own prototypes, and thus we rule out a vast majority of the population. We look at a very narrow segment. Now that's what we've got to get out of. We've spoken earlier about women membership. Now, when we get in women membership, how do we get in women membership? Let's look at a women's perspective as to how to get in women membership. There could be various ways of doing it. And in sharing that experience, also in an interview recorded at an international convention 2 years ago, is PID Sangeeta Jatia, who's talking to us, sharing her view of how this could really work. Let's listen to what she had to say. We need to always understand it's not a question of getting in the new members only. They must be properly integrated into the clubs. If they are not integrated into the clubs, they feel left out. It's only a matter of time before we lose them. We will be talking about these aspects when we start talking about the retention part of it. We are still talking about attracting through diversity. And the next target group that we are looking here is of the differently abled. I really do not like the word disabled. I think none of you like it. It's differently abled. Now, the individuals who are differently abled, they also have a right to a respectable and an acceptable life within the mainstream of the society. How open are our clubs to them? Do we welcome them within our clubs? Do we understand the challenges that they may be facing and thus adapt to working methodologies so that they do not feel left out? The working methodology then would have to be inclusive. We are working very closely as an organization with Special Olympics. Special Olympics has started a program of inclusive sports where they are encouraging the special children to play with the so-called other regular or whom we address as the normal children. They don't have to play separately. There was a time, maybe about 10, 15 years ago, when we said that the special children must be given an opportunity to play, but then the special children played between themselves only. So it's not only limiting it to the sports there. We've got to have an inclusive membership development program also. What are we doing in our clubs? What could we do? We need your ideas. One thing is for sure that there is a large amount of population there, large numbers. The percentages are big, different kind of, challenges that people may be facing. But then individuals with all kind of challenges need to be welcome in our organization. We are the world's #1 service club organization. What are you doing in your clubs to be able to welcome members who are visually challenged? We say Sight First program is our identity. We are known all over the world by the Sight First program. That's fine. We've done wonderful work in preventable and reversible blindness and in supporting individuals who may be visually impaired. You run so many programs in North America, in both the constitutional areas of United States and Canada. But the point is, how open are we and what are we doing to welcome them in our clubs? I'm sure some clubs are doing, and they have the right ways and means of doing it. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm sure someone amongst you who's listening could share those methodologies with all of us. Please type it out in the chat pane for this seminar. And getting people from different cultures, as we said. Basically, it's about being respectful of every culture, and being ready to learn from every culture. This world is slowly getting to be, one hot pot of the global culture. If you look at when we spoke about the youth will not like to be part of organizations that are homogeneous. Their whole friend circle, their whole exposure is to heterogeneous groups and heterogeneous cultures. As we continue to move there, it's important for us to be now more specific. For being able to attract those members through diversity into our organization, there are only two options. The options are either in our existing clubs or in our new clubs. The first thing that we must understand is that the membership development is the unwritten responsibility of every Lion. It's not the responsibility of those individuals who are working with the GAT or the GMT or who are wearing certain badges. We love this organization. We believe that this is the right organization for us, for our future generations, to make this world a better place. We believe that this is an organization where we really go out and help others, and in doing so, we enrich our own lives. We are rather paying that rent that we need to pay to occupy that space on this planet Earth, because nothing comes free. We must be paying that rent for the space that we occupy here. If that be so, we need to keep the story going. And the only way to keep the story going is that we keep on adding new members, because membership, which is human beings, is by nature a perishable commodity. You, me, all of us, we are all perishable. We are here today, one day we'll be gone. We need to replenish. And most importantly, we need to grow the numbers even more, because this is an organization where we can say the more the merrier. Better fellowship, better exchange of ideas, more opportunities to make friends, more contacts, and most importantly, more service, more hands that will together provide service. So the question there is, somewhere we need to answer within your own zones, regions, districts. What are the strategies that you'll make? You'll have different set of strategies for getting members in the existing clubs. And you must take responsibility for chartering new clubs. I have personally seen that over the years, the number of new clubs that are being chartered in the two constitutional areas, Constitutional Area 1 and 2, that number is beginning to fall. Perhaps we are too busy. The individuals who are occupying positions of responsibility, they are extremely busy and they are not being able to find time for club extension. But the point is, it's ultimately going to be our responsibility. We need to understand that. And nobody else will come and do it from the outside. You can be having support from the extension consultants, but ultimately the responsibility must be assumed by you. And in doing so, there are various methodologies that can be done. When we are speaking from the perspective of diversity, one such methodology that has been introduced successfully in our organization is that of specialty clubs. Specialty clubs could be clubs with different interest groups, different focus groups, people from different professions, people from different hobbies, people of different ages, people who like to go out for different kinds of vacations, could be anything. They're specialty clubs. People who have a reason to be bound together. People who have a reason to come together, a common interest. Specialty clubs could also be called common interest clubs. Individuals with common interests. We found some wonderful example. I remember in one of the webinars maybe a year ago that we were organizing, somebody from Canada, I forget the name of the club, said, we've got specialty clubs which we call the Walk With Your Doc clubs, which basically is there are some topmost doctors and they form the specialty clubs of those doctors. It's extremely difficult to get appointments with those doctors. They are top professionals in that part of the world, in those cities, in that particular state. But those doctors get together because they go out for morning walks. So if people want to talk to them or even want to have, generally chat with them about something that they need their consultation, they are welcome to walk with the doctors in the morning. While you're walking, you talk to the doctor, and the doctor would give you some kind of an advice there, and if required, would also then request you to come and see him wherever in the hospital or wherever he's practicing. So walk with the dog clubs, an excellent kind of strategy there. We've heard of motorcyclist clubs and various other common interest clubs in Canada. I mean, those are the clubs that you need to look at. While we are talking at specialty clubs, there is also the concept of campus clubs. I mean, why don't we build campus clubs for students? Because there are reduced rates that are to be paid for by them for dues. And together with the students, even the professors and the teachers of those universities, of those colleges, could become members of the campus clubs. And most importantly, then there are the Leo Lion clubs. Leo Lion is a terminology which basically means an individual who is today a lion but was a Leo earlier, or who has been a Leo but is ready to now become a lion. So that individual will also wear a special pin, which is called a Leo Lion pin. I will never get to wear that pin because in my school and college days, I had friends who were Leos, but I did not join the Leo movement. I waited till I went on to become a full-fledged lion in those days. But today's Leos will have the Leo Lion pin, and they are also being encouraged to form Leo Lion clubs. So when we are talking of attracting new members through diversity, it's now for you to sit down, get together, do some kind of a brainstorming as to what your plans are going to be in your districts. Maybe one Leo Lion club, maybe getting a certain number of youngsters in, the youth membership proportion go up, maybe the women membership proportion go up, maybe people from different other nationalities and cultural background, that proportion go up. What do you do? What strategies do you adopt? What do you talk to the club leaders and so that they may get their clubs ready for such membership? These are the kind of discussions that must start. Once you start those discussions, then they must get to the execution level. That's the whole concept of attracting members through diversity. And as I have been saying, if you have some success stories, please continue to share those with us in the chat pane as this seminar is progressing. And now we will move on to the next focus area, which is retaining members through diversity. And before we start that, we have yet another wonderful interview with another executive officer, our LCIF chairperson, Gudrun Ingadottir. But then this interview was also recorded when she was the second vice president. Let's hear her. We need to first understand that retention is not an activity. Retention is the result of so many activities that may be undertaken in the club, in the zone level, at a district level. Retention is that magnetic power within the club to hold back the members because they start loving the club. They love the club as a wonderful resource for the community, as a wonderful platform for service programs that the communities need, and as a platform for their discharge of social obligations that each individual must undertake. And to do that, we must ensure that the clubs listen to what the members have to say. The leaders must have the ability for what we say is the deep listening of the multiple voices. If those voices are not heard, those voices may not be very strong. Those voices may not be very loud. Those voices, especially when they come from diverse groups, more so groups that are not predominantly high in number, then those voices may get lost. So the leadership must be able to listen to those voices. What really is irking them? What really are they trying to say? What really are they expecting from the clubs, from this organization? Are they beginning to get disillusioned? Those are the factors that need to be addressed. And every individual specifically needs to be respected, no matter what that individual's opinions may be. The opinions may not be in agreement with the opinion of, say, the majority of the members in the club, but still, it's an opinion. I mean, nobody needs to be ridiculed for that. And most importantly, as our officers have also said, that the members from the various diverse groups be given opportunities for leadership at the club level and at the higher level. It's all about also giving them opportunities for networking, especially the youngsters. They will be attracted because if opportunities of networking are provided to them, they want to network with individuals across the entire globe. We have this fantastic platform of our clubs in more than 200 countries and geographical areas. Not many organizations have this at all. So we should be able to roll it out to them, the opportunities for personal development, and they must be informed about the training programs available at on the LCI website, maybe the institutes and other training programs that are regularly held at various levels in the district. And also the important factor that our organization offers an opportunity for what is called a cross-border service programs. Individuals sometimes wish to be a part and parcel of a service activity that could impact another part of the world. On an individual level, all alone, it may be impossible. An individual just can't do anything about it. But through our organization, through our foundation, we can help, we can support the needs in the far-flung areas of the world as well. And that is what our organization offers. And as we continue to do so, it's important that the members continue to feel involved. They continue to feel engaged. That so-called member satisfaction index continues to rise. Every member must feel he or she is wanted, that he or she is feeling good being a member of this club. And there should be pride in wearing the Lions lapel pin. The day an individual feels that element of pride in wearing this Lions lapel pin, that individual will never leave this organization. And in order to integrate the members, especially the members who are coming in from diverse cultures, different age groups, different backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, different nationalities, so on and so forth, they need to be given that freedom to develop what their club would be like, to customize their own club meetings. That must be encouraged. If that's encouraged, that is what will ensure the retention. Friends, let's remember, there's hardly an organization like this on this planet Earth that provides an opportunity for you, me, for every member to be a global citizen to make this world a better place than what we inherited it. And most importantly, to leave this world a slightly better place than what we inherited. There's one individual in our organization in a high office who in his own humorous style and in a most visionary manner has made some comments of what he believes this diversity could do to our organization, provided we are successful in our initiatives in the next 100 years. And that's coming from Vice President Brian Sheehan. Vice President Brian Sheehan for you.